Hey everyone, welcome. So this is what we're going to make today is an apple pie in our almond pie shell. This is a sweetened almond crust made by Piccola Cucina, and there's 2 shells per box, and we're going to use the slightly sweetened shell today. We're going to be using raw shells, so you don't have to pre-bake the shells, which is amazing. In the pot here I've got 8 tablespoons of butter that's been fully melted. I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. So this recipe is totally gluten-free, everybody. So for all the gluten-free folks out there, this crust is gluten-free, and so is this recipe. So we're going to use cornstarch to thicken. So I've added the sugar to the melted butter. Get that moving around a bit. And then I've got 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch that's been dissolved in a 1/4 cup of water, and I'm going to add that now to the butter and sugar mixture. Just going to turn up my heat a little bit here. And so what we're doing here is we're cutting down the thickening time needed in the oven. You know, sometimes because we leave pies in, gets the crust all soggy and mushy, and that's not really going to happen here because we're doing some of this pre-work. So this will need about a minute or so at medium-high heat. Just get it working together until you start to see the sauce thicken. So we're just pre-making the sauce. Now here I'm going to show you, I've cut up about 7 to 8 apples. It's about 1 kilogram of apples. I've used a Red Delicious, but you can use any apple you have on hand. I'm just going to squeeze some lemon on top. Just going to get in there with my hands. Sprinkle with some cinnamon. I like a lot of cinnamon. You could also use nutmeg. It's a wonderful warm flavor for apple pie. Nutmeg, you can do a combo, nutmeg and cinnamon. So I'm going to mix it about. I'm going to do 2 versions today. So we've got, I'm going to do an open-faced apple pie, and then I'm going to use so what I've done here is I've taken a bottom crust. When it's still slightly frozen, I've taken it off of the pie plate, and that's going to be our top for our covered pie. So I'm going to do an open-faced and a closed pie. So I'm just going to check this. So we're still working here. You can see the mixture is thickening up, just needs a little bit more time. And so then what we do, what I'm going to do for the open-faced pie is, if any of you out there are familiar with our brand Piccola Cucina, we also make macaroons made of almond flour. So these are 2 brands I'm showing you here, 2 flavors: walnut, which is the walnutty maple walnut flavored, and then the amaretti, which is our signature almond macaroon. And so if you ever have macaroons that are sitting at the back of the fridge or the pantry that you may have forgotten about, it's a great way to utilize something that's gone a bit dry maybe on the inside. So what you do is you just take your cookies or your macaroons and crumble them up. So this is going to be for our open-faced, this is the walnutty, maple walnut, that I've crumbled up here into little pieces, and that's going to make our topping for our open-faced pie. So we're about dissolved here. You can see the sugar, the butter, and the cornstarch. We've done some pre-thickening of the sauce. Now I'm going to take that and pour that into our apple mixture. Oh, so good. Super simple. You could also use our unsweetened crust. We've got an unsweetened shell, so you could eliminate the sugar, not use the sugar if you choose, or use sugar substitute like a stevia. I've used an organic cane sugar, but really whatever you'd like. Now I'm getting in there with my hands because those are the best tool. So here we go. Get some of those apples in there and the sauce on top. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. This is a lot of apples. So this is going to be We're gonna bake these probably at about 325, about 45 minutes or so. The covered pie is gonna need a little bit more time. So I'm gonna just share some of that sauce between the two crusts. So don't be alarmed if you've got a mountain of apples here, they're gonna cook down. Okay, so here we go. Here's our covered pie. So as I mentioned before, I've taken a pie crust, a bottom crust, and we're just gonna pop it on top. And I've taken it off earlier. Let's see if we can get it off here. So make sure you do this when it's still slightly frozen. And have a little bit of an opening at the top, which is just fine because we need that for the steam to come out. So then just, you can take a fork or with your finger, just pinch all the way around, sealing those edges. I'm gonna fix that top. They'll still taste good. And away we go. So I'll fix that off camera, but we'll get that in the oven and I'll show you the finished product once they're cooked. And then here's our crust, open face. Take those pre-crushed macaroon cookies and we're just gonna jam it in there. Beautiful. So the beautiful nutty flavor of the pie crust melts perfectly with apples. You can also, just going back to that closed crust, you can do an egg wash on that just like you would a traditional pastry. And that's it, everybody. So super easy, super simple apple pie. Thanks for watching.